we have TSM Wavy on. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. What about you?
Yeah, doing pretty good. So you just got out of scrims. How'd they go?
Yeah, they went well. I mean, did I did 10 minutes ago? We had some really good matches. It was definitely good scrims, I'd say.
Yeah. So what? I guess we'll just start at the beginning. What got you playing Rocket League, and what made you become a ones main, and start there and work our way through the story.
All right. So we'll start with how I like first actually just like started playing the game in general. So like the first why I started in the first place.
Yeah,
So
the origin stories.
yeah. So I was at my friend's house. I'm like 8, by the way. This is like 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. I'm at my friend's house. We're just hanging out. We're thinking of stuff to do. He turns on his like I think PS3. It might have been might have been like PS2 or something. But basically it turns on Rocket League. And then we just play it. I don't know why. I just love the game. I thought it was so fun, but I also thought it was so dumb at the same time. But fast forward a few months, I started watching like John Salmon and Woofles play twos, and then the crate openings, all that stuff. I got addicted to the game without even having it myself. So eventually that Christmas comes around. I ask for an Xbox and Rocket League, and thankfully I got it. And so that's how I initially got the game. And that's just since then I've always been playing a decent amount. I've always loved the game.
Did you get it on like the short time it was like on hard copy, or
I think I have the disc for it. Yeah.
wow, that's a collector's item nowadays.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't even know.
yeah, it's become so iconic, and pretty much ever since the Steam store
I'm
uh
gonna check to see if
took
I still
over.
have it.
Yeah, dude, it's a relic. So what made you go from just like liking playing the game, and like where was that transition point from just
Oh
having fun
yeah.
with it to like wanting to take it seriously and going pro?
Well, I was on Xbox. I always just grinded because I enjoyed the game. I didn't grind because of like any specific reason. But eventually it got to the point where I was like GC back when I was the highest rank. I was like 1700 MMR. I was like 1800 MMR. And then the like my friends at Q2s with, you might know him, Salado is one of
Mhm.
them back from Xbox. Yeah, he told me to get a PC and I should like actually start playing like six mans and stuff. And at the time, I had no clue what six mans was because I was like 11.
Mhm. Did
And
they even
I
let
also
six mans in when you were 11? Or
no, you have to be 13 because you
yeah,
need to have Discord. Which
mhm,
yeah.
yeah,
So I didn't even know that, to be honest. I almost ended up playing six man without even like knowing. But
mhm,
anyways, that thankfully that never happened. But he basically yeah, he told me to get a PC. I was reluctant at first because I didn't really know how really a computer worked. I didn't know how difficult it would be, and I was like content with how I was. But eventually another year goes by. I'm like 12, and I st- I think that's when I first really started getting into like watching RLCS, and I really enjoyed it. And that's also when I figured out that like everyone good is kind of on PC. So if I want to become better, I should switch over. So for my birthday, I actually got my first PC along with one monitor, which was like I think it was like 60 hertz, but it was good.
yeah. I mean, it made you feel like you were still playing on console with that.
Yeah. I think I upgraded to 144 like in a really short amount of time though, so I don't think it was for that long.
Yeah, this is something that I hear a lot of people like complain about, is like the monitors and stuff like at lands and such. So I don't know like if you've been to any and you've had to play on like a different hertz, like does that affect you as much, like because your reaction time and like the way you're reading things is, or do you feel like that's more placebo?
For me, it doesn't, but I can understand why it does for other people because it is different. Like you feel the difference between the hertz. But I personally don't have. For me personally, it doesn't affect me. But also right now, at least, I play on 240 hertz, which is like what all the lands have basically.
Hmm.
If I'm not wrong, so like it doesn't. For me, I don't have to really face the change.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how things run on like a 540 hertz monitor.
Yeah, I,
That
I
would
was seeing
be.
people on Twitter were talking about getting it. That sounds insane.
Yeah, I know. There's also supposed to be like an OLED that's coming out. That's like
Really? That's insane.
I think it's I don't think it's 540. I think it's like 480 or something close to that. But
Holy.
like, I mean, it's a I
Yeah.
don't know how much you know about monitors and stuff like that, but
Uh, Not too much. I used to know a lot more. I used to
mhm,
actually look into them when I was like trying to buy one like on my own or while I was searching for one. But now that I kind of have all the equipment I need, I'm not really interested in like continuing to learn about all of it.
yeah. So I guess so are you one of the PlayStation 4 purist, or what controller do you use now?
I'm actually on PS5 right now,
Really?
although almost no one else is. it,
Yeah,
it
maybe.
was interesting like how I switched over. It's like it's a pretty like not cool or funny, but like it's a pretty like weird like nice story to say like to mention.
Mhm. I think
So
the people that I've talked to, like, they like it when it's like it feels bigger in their hands. And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, I've noticed the taller the player, the more they go PS5.
I had no clue that was a thing.
Yeah,
I'm 5'9", so I don't know if that really matters for me.
I don't know. I mean, it might. That's just something that I've noticed is like it,
Yeah,
and I haven't done like a survey on every pro player and like
yeah.
compared height and controller choice, but that's just something that I've noticed. Like the people that I know
Yeah,
that do like play on the more competitive side that are taller tend to like the PS5 more.
gotcha.
But so I guess what was the first steps for you? Like once you started to like six mans going through rank B, back when I guess rank B was kind of something back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah,
before six man's kind of went
yeah,
downhill.
died a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what was like your first team that you like? Obviously you played
Oh
with
my,
Salado. Like, uh, what was like your first
my
run
first.
of teams?
Yeah, yeah. No, I never actually team with Saldo. We were just like choose partners.
Hmm.
But the first team I ever had was with, okay, was with some Rush
Hmm.
and Frosty, but not Snowman Frosty, a
Hmm.
different Frosty. Now I think he's called Frost and he's like Frost Tackler.
Hmm.
But that was the first team. All the reason why we teamed mainly because all of us were 13, so none of us could play in RLCS.
Hmm.
So no one else really wanted to team with any of us, and obviously we can't really get an org. We can't really play for like
Hmm.
RLCS team. So we're kind of just teaming because there's no one else to team with, I guess. But we were also all good friends, and we enjoyed playing together. But it was fun.
Yeah, maybe that's what kind of took you a little bit longer. Is you should have played when you were 13 and gotten banned, like every other
Yeah,
every other
run
prodigy.
up the Zen Psycho Atomic strat.
Yeah. So I guess were you just playing in weeklies, and was the
Yeah,
ESL weeklies like was that 13 plus, or how
I
did
have
that
no
work? You
clue.
have no idea?
I think by the time I became like competitive at least decent, those were already over.
Okay. So I guess, when did you start streaming, and when did like this is the all-encompassing journey of just like the networking side of it is I think the thing people don't
Yeah,
understand, like when it comes to becoming pro, like it's not just being good, like networking, not in the sense of
yeah,
just like people know who you are, but like you have to like your
building
teammates to a
connections. Like
certain
yeah,
extent. Because if you just hate your teammate, it's not going to go well.
yeah.
Uh,
You're not succeeding then.
yeah. So I mean, like you've got to build some level of relationships with people. So like, what was that journey like for you? Now that you were starting to get competitive and we're starting to play in these weeklies and get old
Yeah.
enough to actually compete in RLCS. Like, what was that next step like for you?
In terms of content, I've been streaming since I was like 13. Like I think a month after I turned 13, I streamed. I actually streamed a very good amount when I was like younger. It's probably more than I do now actually.
Hmm.
But through that I built a bunch of connections with like fans, not as much as like higher level players. But I remember like a week into streaming, I think I had first killer hop on my chat, and that
Hmm.
was that was kind of insane considering how I was like maybe 2,000 MMR like at my peak at that time,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit higher. But and then for building connections and stuff, I mainly did a lot of that through Twitter.
Hmm.
Like when I was younger, I wasn't the most mature person to say the least, but by the time I was like, I was like 14 or like a little bit older, like 14 and a half maybe. I really understood what to do with Twitter. So I tweeted a good amount. I replied a lot. I spent hours on Twitter, but that was mainly because I enjoyed it. And from that, a lot of people knew my name. I got like friendships with a bunch of people, some pros, some bubble, some some randoms. But yeah, everything is good. And then off of six man is probably the main way I built good connections and like networked myself, because that's really how I met a bunch of the bubble players at the time, like the I'm trying to think of names, like the Eris, both Erises.
Hmm.
That was when like Zenil was coming up. It was like Diaz, Drewy, like, all of those people. I built like connections with somewhat. Some of them didn't like me because I trolled on their team,
Hmm.
but I did build a lot of connections through six mans. I personally am a huge advocate for six mans. I feel like it's a huge part of like my success. I've always been a supporter of it. I've always loved it.
Yeah, I think the main thing that's wrong with six mans is like the ranked MMR like just doesn't translate anymore,
Yeah,
because like once you kind of hit that like 1900 to check into rank B, nobody plays rank threes anymore because they've got rank B and they can't do anything more with it. And
yeah,
so like you're getting more and more players into rank B uh, without anybody like gatekeeping, I guess you'd say.
yeah.
And so,
Because it's so hard to demote out of B.
yeah,
Not like there's so many people in the rank. I have friends in B. They talk about how terrible, how terrifying it is to queue.
yeah, because like you may get somebody who's like a peak, in all actuality, like
Yeah,
1700 that,
that can't
basically got
aerial.
carried with their friends. And then,
No, it is insane.
yeah. And then have people that just never play it except like once in a while, like
Yeah,
one to Mike, and he'll queue and
yeah.
he's
You
on
look
the
like
other
a
team. And
pro or
it's just like, all
something.
right, GG.
Yeah,
Like,
GG's. You can't win. Someone that just goes 12-0 out of the rank the second they start trying.
yeah. It's a. I feel like there's got to be a fix for it. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's got to be
Yeah,
something to, uh,
yeah.
I guess,
I'm
do
praying on
that.
their success though.
Yeah, because I think six mans is probably like the best opportunity that's available right now, and
Yeah.
like even though it is kind of memed on, like
In my opinion, it is still meaningful getting to like rank A, rank X.
yeah,
Although like not as much as before, I still think it holds some weight. I do still think players should try to like, well, up and coming players should still try to like get high up in six mans.
yeah. I think especially since it's a good way to practice, not necessarily playing threes, but the things that you don't get in ranked, like communication and
Yeah,
like
a
there's
lot of
other
a lot of
aspects
his
of,
comms.
yeah. Not sighing is probably the biggest thing people struggle with in rank B. Let's be honest.
Oh, the ranked B six man side. It is so iconic. I always talk about it.
Yeah, it's I've heard some comms when I was coaching some of the like rank B players, and I'd be like, all right, well,
It
at
is
least
so
that
bad.
game is over.
Yeah, no, they
This,
sound like they don't want to win.
yeah. What is it that you think could help six mans like become more respectable? Like outside of like there needs to be something done about like the influx of like rank B, like maybe like a
Yeah,
cap in the players that can come in or something
honestly,
like that. But like when they're actually in there, like what could help? Like,
I just off the dome, I just thought of two ideas that I don't know if they'll work, but I feel like they're interesting to at least like look at. One of them is raising the demotion MMR and then also the promotion MMR from rank C.
mhm,
And then other than that, I was also thinking of not like a straight up 1 month quota, but maybe across like a few different months a quota. So then at least at least they'll raise the activity of six mans.
mhm.
And then like some people will definitely be like playing a lot more, and then the really bad people would end up eventually demoting out, which is a huge thing.
Yeah, I think like there also could be like not just raising like the MMR and stuff, but I think like if there was, I don't know, like if you could show a pattern that this person does something that like the community agrees isn't good, like I don't know exactly what it would be. Like if they just constantly sit up field on low boost.
Yeah,
Like something easy like that. It's like, hey, look, like
yeah,
we've
yeah.
got this series, we've got this series, we've got this. It's like, hey, look, all of us are showing that this person just sits up a field on low boost and is like doing nothing with it. Like, can we just like agree that this is something that we can demote them back to rank C for?
That reminds me of like I forgot what it's called. But in like in other esport or not I wouldn't really say esport, but in other games, like I think it's in League, you
Hmm.
can like after a game you can like vote on the player's performance, like was this person a good teammate or something.
Hmm.
And then I feel like something like that potentially could work, but considering the egos of some players and the toxicity of it, it
Yeah,
might backfire.
I
But I
think
feel like that's
yeah,
also an interesting idea.
yeah. I think also too is like you get if you get a certain level of incompetence in the person rating their team,
Yeah,
like
just gonna go
it's like,
down.
oh yeah, this guy was great. It's like, no, he has all the score because he ball chased and didn't let anybody do anything.
The person drops
Like
1,000 points,
it's
but has done, but his teammates weren't allowed to hit the ball.
yeah, it's like, but at the same time, like you see Rado like what was it this weekend in that final game? I think he had like 18
70,
points.
yeah, I heard it
Like
was. I think he ended with 76.
yeah, he ended with 76, but like I think it was for like the first like 3 minutes, like he had a total of 18 points.
That's crazy.
But the thing is, you go back and watch it. It's like he's doing what he needs to in the situations, like forcing for his
Yeah,
teammate, and like
sometimes you
still
just don't
doing good.
accumulate points.
Yeah, and so I feel like there's some level of uh, there's something there that we could do to improve six mans. Uh,
Yeah,
but I think a lot of it just comes down to like NA just needs. And this has been kind of the topic that everybody talks about when it comes to like E versus NA. Is like NA needs a different culture.
yeah, and they need to have a better mentality.
Yeah. Do you think it's mentality, like just wanting to win? Like when you say that, like that's a easy, broad answer. It's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. It doesn't mean
yeah,
much by
America just
itself.
needs to get good at mentality. Yeah. But like, what do you
In
mean by
terms
that?
of
Like,
in terms of a player trying to like become a pro, like the difference between bubble and pro and like just improvement, a lot of players nowadays, at least in NA, they only play for themselves. They don't really care about their team. They
mhm,
just play on a team with the goal of getting picked up by a better team. So then it's consciously or subconsciously, they're gonna
mhm.
be playing like more selfish, and then ultimately their team's gonna do worse and their results are gonna look worse. Which, is kind of against the entire point of trying to get picked up by a better team because with worse results, you're going to get looked at less.
Yeah. So what do you think that if you've like obviously like we saw friends like in the like rink B and stuff like that, like what's like the
Yeah.
two or three things that you see them do like in their games, uh, like that you would be like, hey, all of North America, stop doing these things, and when you're playing six mans, like what would those things be other than
But like,
sighing?
I mean, gameplay things or just like mentality things, like things like
I
outside of
guess
direct gameplay.
I guess maybe one gameplay thing and then two mentality things.
But in terms of mentality, you need to trust your teammates. I know it's hard to do, especially in like a low rank, but you need to trust your teammates at least to some extent. You need to trust they'll be able to at least hit the ball to you. Like play defense. You need to be able to like trust because if you don't trust, then you're gonna mess up your entire team's positioning. The flow of your team's gonna be bad, and then ultimately, when you don't trust your teammates, it also makes calming a lot harder because you don't know if you can really calm like for your teammate, if that makes sense, or calm what you're gonna do because if you play reactive off of if your teammate hits it or misses it, then you're already gonna be too slow to the play, while your opponent will probably just be playing where the ball is going to like go, not where it's like at the current time.
Yeah.
So that's it for that's one thing for I guess mentality because that's trust. And then in terms of I'll do one for comms. Just you gotta sound like you want to win. You can't sound so depressed, and you also need to stop sounding passive aggressive. What I remember back when I queued rank B, you could be up one, you could be up like 2-0 in a series, and then you'll go down with like 4.5 minutes left. Your teammate's gonna start sighing. They'll start calming so passive aggressively, and that just makes your entire team lose confidence. And then you just get reverse swept or something. You just lose. Like people just need to have more of a positive mentality and to like go like just try to win. Don't it doesn't really matter if it's your fault or your teammate's fault. all that matters is like I guess your team's result,
Hmm.
and you gotta do the most you can to make sure that result is as best as possible. So you don't have to. I think a lot of people just need to be more like uplifting, more positive, and more like supportive of their teammates, even after they make mistakes. They miss an aerial, all good. You got the next one. Not, oh my god, bro, hit the ball. Like
Yeah,
you can't always be stressing over that. And
yeah,
I guess for gameplay wise, that's more difficult. I'd say if you're just trying to improve your rank and just like rank up, become like a higher rank, I'd say try to play off your teammates more. Let your teammates do more like on ball stuff, and then focus more on like off ball, like boost grab demos, and then also mainly having good positioning. Having good positioning just kind of helps everyone at every time. Improving game sense, watching replays, that all of that's just really good for gameplay improvement. And then specifically for like getting better through six mans. A lot of it, I mean, the main point of six man is really learning how to play threes well. So you need to be able to, you need to try to adapt to your teammates is the main thing. Like figure, you could spend like game one of the series more figuring out how your teammates play, how you're gonna fit that role, and becoming more accustomed to that is going to let you improve more and have more chances in terms of gameplay and like chances to have meaningful impact and improvement spots for the rest of the series. But if you're like, just ball chasing, focusing on yourself, not really caring for your teammates, you're gonna be out of position, you're gonna be in awkward spots, you're not really gonna have opportunities to get touches where you want to and like to be able to like properly improve from six mans.
yeah. And the other thing too, like with that, is like you're gonna have a teammate that you feel is more ball chasey sometimes, but it's just because they have better recoveries than you.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
like they're
huge
able
thing.
to recover and get back to the ball and cut it off before you, as third man, can even get into the play. And
Yeah,
so,
people gotta be more like
like,
aware.
yeah, it's like it's not first man goes, second man goes, third man goes.
Yeah.
If that
Uh,
happens, like usually somebody's making a cut after that next rotation.
yeah,
Like,
it can happen, but you gotta be aware that's definitely not the only thing that can happen.
yeah, like that's the that's the other thing too that I noticed with like the lower versus like the higher ranks is they're more focused on reading and being proactive than they are let me sit in front of the net and play quote unquote best case scenario and then let me sit super deep and play quote unquote worst case scenario. Like they're actually actively reading what's going on versus like defaulting into, oh, I just follow my teammate and he's supposed to 50.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't 50, let me leave. Like
People gotta think more. They can't just play like so autopilot all the time. They gotta be really just like figuring out what's happening, what's going to happen, and playing off of that.
yeah, like that's where I think like with what I'm trying to do with like the content I'm working on is trying to give I guess more questions for people to ask like as they're playing their positions. Like not just, hey, you're first man, you should try and get it past two people and hand it to their third man. That's the one comm in six mans that I don't understand people making is they're like, past two? Like, cool. So you mean you handed
Cool, we
over
can see that,
possession?
buddy.
Like that's the kindest way to say I handed over possession. It's the one
Yeah,
comm
yeah,
that I hear people make that when I'm hanging out with the streams, I'm just like, why are you calming that?
yeah.
Like
I-
it's the
It is
funniest
not a great
comm.
calm.
Yeah. So I guess you made it through six mans. We've given some good advice
Yeah.
for people trying to make it through that. Um, once you made it through kind of that six man's grind, you kind of got known for being a ones grinder. Uh,
I can't believe that, by the way. I was rank X six mans. I've made multiple day threes. And then I play a little bit of ones and I'm a ones main. It is insane. But I don't hate it too much. I think it's kind of funny.
yeah, I think that's if you're not like I think main stage and you play ones at all and win any like tournament, like people
Yeah.
just immediately go, oh, one's main.
That's actually so true. I mean I don't hate it. I enjoy it to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's like you
Being a
showed up
one
on a
man sounds
Johnny Boy
fun.
stream. You are now a one's main. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. It's like, oh, they're a ones main.
Yeah, yeah,
So, what made you want to start playing ones and less six mans? And like, what made you want to do that? Was it just mechanics to focus on, or fundamentals, or what is it that you were trying to accomplish with that?
initially when I played ones, I always wanted to like do it for a game sense
Hmm.
and to like figuring out like basic decision making and like kind of how to get around the field, basic positioning, how to win 1v1 situations. Because especially in lower six man ranks, you'll get a lot of 1v1
Hmm.
situations. So being able to like take advantage of those on either offense or defense kind of will win you some series sometimes, which I always thought was good. But also at that time I probably just wasn't enjoying rank twos as much, so I
Hmm.
wanted an alternative, and then I was able I queued ones, and I don't know, a lot of people might be surprised, but I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I actually I've always had fun with ranked ones. I've always made sure to not like take it too seriously. Don't tilt over it, but I've always played it. I've always tried enough to where like I'm improving actively.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go into ones with kind of like let me try and gimmick my way up this rank, and like let me challenge
Yeah.
everything and catch them off guard and just be quote unquote faster. It's like it's cool that you can do that, but as soon as somebody like gets an ounce of thought, they're just going to beat you to the ball because you're blindly chasing, and then they're basically just going to have a shooting pack for half the game.
Yeah. Well, the thing about ones that I hate the most is people just play to win. They don't really care about improving or getting better.
Yeah.
Like they'll go for what 10 irritable bumps in a 5 minute game.
Hmm.
Like sure, you're practicing irritable bumps, which is it's a lot more
Yeah.
useful now than it used to be in terms of three. So actually, there are situations where it's good to go for them. It is good to practice irritable bumps. But when you're only irritable bumping, you're going for like 10 a game, you're really just limiting your own improvement. I
Hmm.
mean, if you want to do that, it only helps your opponent in the long term, I guess, because you're worse as an opponent.
Yeah.
But in terms of improving, you really should be diversifying your offense. Not just irritable bumping, practice everything. You're not playing ones to really gain MMR. You're playing ones to become a better player.
Yeah. And if you become a better player, you'll get more MMR. It's
Yeah.
funny how that works.
The better you are, the more you win. Who knew?
Yeah. So I guess, we come around to, you start playing all these ones tournaments. Like, how did the, Hey Bros squad form up? Because that's,
Oh, it's
the
such
next,
a
that's the next step in we had this long off season,
yeah.
how'd this team go? You guys won a lot of off season tournaments. Uh,
We did cook. All right, so let's start off with the thing is, all three players, me, Creeps, and Hockey, we actually met at a LAN over the summer in
mhm,
August. It was the Bell Toronto Challenge LAN. It was a really fun LAN. I somehow managed to qualify, and then they qualified. I think Creams, Hockey, and Jordan was the team. They won the whole event. They were kind
mhm,
of insane. But apparently, off of that event was when Creams and Hockey really decided that they wanted to try me out. They were thinking about it before, but they ultimately decided after that LAN that I was a person they should actually like really try out and like look at as a player. And then even with that, I'm pretty sure I was the last person on their list to try out. And but as soon as we got that first round, as soon as we entered in that first scrim, we all felt good. I immediately meshed with the play style really well. So it was only off of like maybe 1 or 2 weeks of scrims. We're like, yo, let's run a tourney together.
mhm,
And we ran the Bandits tourney, Bandits on Wheels Fall Showdown #1. And we beat G2 in game 7.
mhm.
At least the G2 tryout, which that was such a surreal experience. I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling when I saw in game 7 and with 0 time left, we were up by 2 goals.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like Tactical Bandits like plays into like all the bubble scene, and like
Yeah,
that being where
yeah.
everybody like kind of gets their start. So I don't
It's
know if
such a
you've
huge bubble tourney.
yeah, I don't know. Have you heard my story about Tactical Bandits?
I haven't, no.
So this was how I actually started, like getting into like the rank B and bubble scene. Is I was coaching a college team, and there were two champs and a GC1, and we ended up playing Tech Oz Vegas, and I think it was I'm trying to think who the other one was,
Was it
but
in college or was it in like a tourney?
it was like in the Tactical Mandic Weekly, like back when it was like the $300 weekly, like a few years
Could have
ago.
been like Nebra. I think
Yeah,
they ran a lot with Nebra or something.
yeah,
I don't know.
but all rank A players. Uh,
Yeah.
so first game, we only lose by 2 kickoff goals, like 3-5, and then the next game, like we do the impossible and we beat them by 1 goal, and we just absolutely lose our stuff, and then they just completely destroyed us the next game. But because of that one game, like people started to be like, oh, like maybe there's something here. Uh,
Yeah.
and I DM'd like a whole bunch of other coaches because I was just like, hey, I know that they probably were trolling, but like give me like your honest opinion. And they're like, they trolled a little bit, but you guys still looked like a B+ team. Uh,
Yeah.
and so yeah, Tactical Bandits is like, I find the start for a lot of people like making their way
Yeah.
up there. The iced up squad from last year. You know,
Yeah, I've always loved Voltaire. It's my
yeah.
guy.
So it seems like that's where everybody starts out, like when they're forming their
Yeah.
teams and stuff.
They all do tryouts through those tournaments, and if they look good, they continue.
Yeah. So what was it that the Hey Bros roster comes around, uh, everybody's hyping you guys up. We're going into RLCS. You guys don't have an org yet. How did TSM come about? Did you guys reach
I
out to
mean,
them? Did uh,
it was kind of insane. So what's it called? I forgot when exactly, but a couple months before I signed to an agency, Hockey and Creams were on an agency. But none of that really mattered in terms of getting an initial contact with them. It was through an email to our manager at the time,
mhm,
and we were when our manager sent us the screenshot and really told us we were in the middle of a tournament.
mhm,
We're at like there was an option tournament. I think it was Hercules' New Era series or one of
mhm,
those. We're like straight up in the middle. I think we just finished semifinals or something. We were waiting on finals matchup. We got that not notification, but we saw that picture. All of us started freaking out.
mhm,
We were all going crazy. None of us could believe what was happening. We were all asking, "Is it real? Is it fake?"
mhm.
But the email just said we're interested. We want to get in a call with the guys and talk. And then we got in that meeting. Things went well, and then we just continued talking.
Yeah. So how did contract negotiations go? Did you guys just like your agency handle all of that? Was there like, things that you specifically wanted, like as a team or like as a player? Like, did you want an editor or mental coaches or facilities? Like, what were you guys
Um,
wanting? I don't know how much you can get into it, but
Yeah.
you know,
I won't like leak anything crazy.
yeah.
But basically, I mean, we're all kind of like unproven players. Even though we proved in off-season tournaments, we're still kind of an unproven team because we haven't done an RLCS.
Hmm.
So we didn't really go into asking for like we didn't ask for like to get flown out to like a Buka. We didn't ask for like, anything like too insane like that. We mainly kept it mainstream, and then our agency kind of handled like
Hmm.
all that. We didn't want to ask too much because but we mainly let our agencies handle majority of the negotiations, and they did well.
Yeah. So it's almost like if you're dealing with contracts, having people who deal
Yeah,
with contracts for a living is a good thing to have.
it's not great to not have an agent or like at least like a lawyer or something look at it.
Yeah. Who are you guys signed with as far as like the agency? Is it
Uh, I'm on Prodigy Agency,
mhm.
but I think Creams and Hockey. Oh, I forgot the name,
Is it
but
the one that Matt runs?
if
Cavallo.
you're talking, it's not Clover Talent. If you're talking about that.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's in the Twitter bios if I'm
Mhm.
not wrong, so
Yeah.
anyone can really check this anytime they want to.
Yeah. So I guess as we're wrapping up here, we're coming into this last split. You know, you guys did you guys have a coach at all during the first split, or were you guys trying people out, or
We tried out one person
Mhm.
over like January, and we thought it was better to play with ourselves. We felt better, we feel more comfortable ourselves. Just talking to each other, telling each other what we thought honestly, taking criticism well. But eventually, what's it called? We felt like we would have had higher potential
Mhm.
going into the second split if we had a coach. And then we tried out a bunch of people, but immediately we loved Eclipse. He was like he's kind of the goat.
Mhm.
But so basically, we ended up picking him up, and it was amazing, and it still is.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet him? Did you guys just like put out the offers to already like experienced coaches, or did you guys have people in mind?
I think we had a couple of people in mind, and I'm pretty sure Creams is the person I really knew about Eclipse, and he brought the name to us. I didn't really know any real coach at the time, so obviously I've seen Eclipse around on Twitter and stuff, but I didn't really know like his style, what he was like.
Hmm.
So he had one of the few people we tried out, and immediately, like I said, we loved him.
Yeah. Having that good relationship's important, especially
Yeah, yeah.
in intense situations.
Being able to talk as like as teammates, but also as like friends at the same time, lets us like I feel like it lets us talk more positively and get through like high pressure moments.
Yeah. That's dealing with stress is probably one of the, I think, especially as younger players, uh, if you haven't had much life experience yet, like that's something that you may not have
Yeah,
developed right out the gate. And that's something that I see, like, especially in rank B, is like the emotional regulation is just not there, not developed yet.
they're either trash talking each other or not talking for minutes at a time.
Yeah. And so I think that's one of the things that, uh, as far as like available resources go, like Healthy Gamer, if are you familiar with them at all?
I think I've heard of them, but I don't
Yeah.
really know it.
Dr. K, I don't know if you've, that's like the guy who
Probably
runs it.
not.
Yeah.
Maybe I've heard of them, but
Uh,
don't really know.
but they have some really good resources for like mentality and stuff like that. He's got a PhD from this place called Harvard. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh,
Uh,
I mean,
yeah,
just a little bit.
yeah,
Maybe
small little
once.
school.
Speaking of Harvard, I took a pre-college program there, so
Really?
I've taken a course at Harvard.
Yeah.
It was a philosophy class on digital economics. It was called.
Huh. So are you like planning on doing like economics, or what do you,
uh,
or do you have a plan yet?
probably business. Not really. I don't have too much of a plan, but I've always been like kind of good at business stuff, so I'm really planning on staying with that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I have found, and I'm almost twice your age thinking about it. Uh, the best business experience has honestly been from just like working underneath like people that know what they're doing and like people that
Yeah,
have started small businesses.
you
Uh,
learn a lot from them.
yeah, that mentorship is more than anything I've ever learned in a school. So
Yeah,
it, especially the esports industry right now, like I think we're kind of going through like a renaissance in business. And so,
yeah.
maybe you got picked up by TSM, but you may be running it one day. Play
No,
your cards right.
maybe
Yeah,
one day. That would be pretty nice.
yeah. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. I think everybody, if you're looking for what your path should look like, I think we laid out a pretty clear one.
Yeah,
On
keep on
what
your
you're trying to
grind.
do. But most importantly, remember it's a video game and have fun with it.
Have fun. Yeah, that is a huge thing. I say that all the time.
Yeah. There's on in like the most saturated of times in North America, there's 20 teams that are signed, and that's 60 players.
Yeah,
You know, so if you're not one of those 60, and are grinding towards it, remember to have fun with it. On your
yeah,
way. You know that I think is the best advice because you don't want to put everything into it. But at the same
yeah,
time, you kind of have to. So I guess before we leave, like that's quite a paradox.
yeah.
When did you
Finding the
know to start?
balance.
When did you know that like you were going pro? Like
I mean,
what was the spark that was like that I'm going to make it?
I didn't know I was really gonna like. I'll do. They're like two. I'll do like two different sections.
Hmm.
I'll do the first one pretty small. So the first one, when I really figured out, I'm actually good at this game. People actually think I'm good at this game. And when I first got messaged by Charlotte Phoenix's like talent management back in, I think it was 2022.
Hmm.
I think 2022. And I couldn't believe my eyes because at that time the roster was Araz, Delta, Beast, Bonium. They were making regionals. They were insanely good players,
Hmm.
and that's kind of when I figured out, hey, I'm actually good at this game, and I can like trust myself to keep pushing, and it gave me a lot of motivation mainly. But the real time I knew I was going pro, I guess I'd say is also when I won that Bandits tournament.
Hmm.
That kind of when I knew, hey, I'm good. I'm actually good enough to beat these, top of the region pro players. And then again, when we got signed by TSM, I mean, at that point you could kind
Yeah,
of argue I'm already pro. But
yeah,
then, in my opinion, you still need to get the results to prove it after that.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the you gotta put in the hours, but make sure you're
Yeah,
one, you're having fun with it, but then two, like make sure you're doing other things too. Like,
yeah,
uh, you can't let this be your entire life right out the gate.
yeah.
So, I guess to finish it off, is there any advice you would give your younger self or any 13-year-olds that want to become prodigies in Rocket League?
I'd probably just tell myself honestly, stay motivated. It's a grind, but I know I can do it. I believe in myself.
Yeah,
Have confidence is the main thing too.
yeah. It sounds like you're quoting Naruto there. Believe it.
I actually haven't seen Naruto somehow.
Wow. For somebody who has an anime profile pic, that's really surprising.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. In my opinion, it's too long. I'm not watching like 500 episodes of one show.
So
At least not
One
yet.
Piece is out.
No, I think I've seen 100 episodes. Could not
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah,
Too much. It's good though. I won't
yeah.
lie.
Assassination Classroom is definitely one that you would like then.
I've seen it. I
Yeah.
think it's like my number 6 of all time. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
amazing.
Like I think it's only what 3 seasons, and then they did the smart thing and just
Yeah.
let it be. Like
it,
like that. I wish
it
more
was
animes would
it's
do
so
that.
good. It was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Everybody go
It was
check
fun.
out his links in the description. It's been fun
Yes,
talking with
sir.
you. We'll have to get some of the other pros on here soon. So, but
Yep.
yeah, good luck
Uh,
in this next split, and I
Thank
hope
you.
to see
Good
you
luck
in
to you
London.
too. Yep. I mean, I would not complain if I saw you in London.
Yeah. Well, hey,
uh,
have a good
Thank
one.
you.